to drop in there. I would love for each of you to drop in the chat today, where you're calling us from, and maybe some information about the kind of job you're looking for or your industry. So go ahead and start talking in the chat. Tell us, your name. If you don't have your name as your handle, make sure your name is in there. So your name, where you're calling us from, and then what kind of job or industry that you are looking for in the chat. All right. Well, again, this is Career Connectors. We are doing this virtual. So I know we have people from all over the US joining us today. And our vision is to really build a better community, one organization and one career at a time, because we know when people have really great careers, it empowers, it elevates communities and empowers job seekers, employers, and service providers. And so that is what we are all about. And as you see these things popping up on your screen, we are recording today. And so you will be able to pull this information at a later date. We usually have it up by the evening or next morning, this particular webinar. So if there's something you missed or you want to go back and look at again, then you can do that at any time. All right, good morning, Shelly. Good to see you. Hi, Carolyn. She is in Phoenix. Oh, transitioning into the mental health field. Well, we for sure need you. That is for sure. Krista. Oh, Krista from Columbus. Hi, it's so good to see you on here. And she is relocating to Tempe. Actually, Krista and I know each other from couple years back. So hi, Krista. Crystal, good to see you. Hello, everyone. We're so glad you're on here. Kevin, good morning. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you're calling in from and what kind of industry or job that you are looking for. All right, so Bree, if you could jump over to slide 5, I want to go through a couple things. If you're hearing me say drop in the chat and you don't know where that is, just look down on the bottom screen and there will be a chat icon. Click on the chat icon, and that allows you to message people directly or through the whole group. The individual messages, you have to drop down and click on somebody, but the default is everyone will see your messages that you drop in the group chat. So go ahead and engage in that. Also, if you want to look at the view that we recommend speaker view. And so on the top right of your screen, if you're on a computer, there is a view and you will see side by side speaker. And that's the one we recommend because that means you're going to see the presentation. You will also see the speaker view. And so, or the speaker that's talking. And so you'll get both of those if you're in speaker view. And then if you would like to change your name by any chance, if your name is not coming across, like Jessica Pierce, your name, you can go ahead and go over to your picture where you see your video. There is 3 little dots. Go down and then just choose rename. And you can rename I'm going to rename myself Jessica Pierce, and I'm just going to put our business name, Career Connector, so you can see how that is done. And so go ahead and make sure your name is your name, because sometimes we have really great conversations and somebody may want to follow up with you, but they don't have your name because you're using a different handle as your name when you came in. All right, the other thing is to make sure you stay on the call after our 2 awesome keynote speakers, because that is the coaching section. That is the time when you're going to be able to talk to a resume writer, a LinkedIn coach, a career coach, and you're going to be able to get some small group or one-on-one assistance during that time. Some people bring in their resumes to be reviewed. Sometimes people have the coach bring up their LinkedIn profile and give them guidance on what things could change or how to navigate it. And so stay on the line with us and make sure you talk to our coaches. They've been doing this for years and they really know what they're talking about. Also, you see some people already doing this. We would love to continue the conversation and connect with you, as I'm sure many of you would love to connect with each other. And one of the great ways we do that is through LinkedIn. So if you could open up a browser.
You're on?
Oh, nah. Yep, we have somebody on. Let me mute you there. So if you could go out to LinkedIn and go ahead and click on your picture. That's usually the best way to get there. If you click on your picture, that will bring up your profile page. And you can copy your LinkedIn URL, just like Kevin did. He just dropped it in. Copy your LinkedIn URL and drop it in the chat, and make sure it's blue, because if it's blue, that means it's clickable. And we can click directly onto Kevin's LinkedIn URL and connect with him. So I encourage each of you to do that, to go get your LinkedIn URL, drop it in the chat, and then we can connect with each other. And that will help you expand your network as you are connecting, because you're probably going to hear it today. We hear it almost every call. It's a lot of this is about who you know and who you connect with. And so I encourage you guys to do that. If you do need closed captioning, that is also on the bottom of your screen. There is an icon, and it is called live transcript. And so you can go ahead and click on live transcript and get the closed captioning on your screen. Thank you everyone for dropping in your LinkedIn URL. Make sure you guys are connecting with each other on LinkedIn. And I would love to connect with you as well. All right, so today you're going to hear from the superwoman herself, Jean Brees, as she talks about discover your career superpower. And then we brought in Gian Boldy, who has been with Career Connectors for many years, and he is going to talk about financial success during career transition. And then we're going to go into the breakouts. And so we have LinkedIn coaches ready to go. We have career coaches if you have some questions about interview prep. We have financial coaching, and we also have professional resume review. And so these professional resume writers will come in and talk to you and help you get your resume to a place where it gets through the applicant tracking software, where it helps you get someone's eyeballs on your resume. And then we will do breakouts for about an hour and then close out the session. All right, so again, if you're just logging in, make sure that you drop into the chat where you're calling from and your type of industry or job, and then also your LinkedIn URL. Excuse me one sec. All right, hi Nikki from Atlanta. Good to see you. I love you even have your video on. Look at that smile. I love it. Welcome, welcome. My son's in Augusta, and so this is first year out there in Georgia. So, but welcome. We're so glad to see you. Okay, you guys, I would like to introduce Jean Brees. After more than 25 years creating and leading award-winning teams for a Fortune 10 technology firm, Jean left the corporate world to do what she loves all the time, helping individuals and teams achieve what others think impossible. In 2020, Jean was recognized as one of Phoenix Business Journal's outstanding women in business. And as a president of the National Association of Women Business Owners, NABO, she led the Phoenix chapter to receive a Stevie Award for Best Response to the Pandemic by a woman-led nonprofit organization. Jean speaks to the worldwide audiences about how to conquer change and elevate your skills to achieve breakthrough results. She is just, that's her bio, you guys, but unofficial bio is she is just a phenomenal woman, friend, lady in business, knows what she's talking about, encourager, motivator. I adore her. Please help me welcome Jean Brees.
Woo. Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be with you. I have so much goodness to share with you all. So we are going to jump right in with the two things most important to you. Why am I here? And how long is this going to take? So I've got about 45 minutes on the agenda. And the reason I'm here, how many of you have felt tired? How many of you have felt stressed? How many of you have felt maybe stuck, maybe a lack of motivation? If you can relate to those feelings, go ahead and type in the chat, type yes. And what I want to tell you is you are not alone. I travel across the country and I speak to all kinds of groups. And one of the things I ask the groups is, what's the biggest conflict that you wish you could eliminate right now? And over with every group, I see these things come up. And, you know, the reality is whether we went through the pandemic and it was boom, or whether it was bust, it was brutal for all of us. And we're all feeling that right now. So the reason that I'm here is because I'm going to share with you 5 superpowers. I call them superpowers because any one of them, if you engage it, has the ability to be life-changing. It's life-changing for your career, and it's life-changing for your personal life. Because we hear a lot about work-life balance, but I'm here to tell you, we don't have a separate work and a separate life. We have one life. We have one life, and we work because we need things and we want things. So we should be quit asking ourselves about work-life balance and asking ourselves about work-life satisfaction. So these superpowers that I'm going to share with you today are to help you go from feeling tired and stressed to inspired and blessed. Are you in? You're probably asking yourself right now, okay, that sounds really good, but who the heck are you? And where did you get these superpowers? And what the heck is a superpower? So as Jessica said, I spent over 25 years in the corporate world. I created and led award-winning teams for a Fortune 10 technology company. I founded a nonprofit here in the Phoenix area where I live that supports law enforcement families. And I'm most recently the immediate past president for NABO. Every time I've had a team that I've been in charge of or had a leadership role in, we've been an award-winning team. All of the superpowers I'm going to share with you today come from that. Now, here's the thing about the superpowers. They are simple, but don't mistake simple for easy. If it was easy, we'd already all be doing it, right? Some of it you've heard before, and that's okay because we all have to be reminded to do the things that are good for us. I have to remind my kid every morning to make her bed. So, we have to be, sometimes we have to be reminded. So some of it you'll have heard, you're going to hear some new things. For every superpower, I'm going to tell you how you activate that in your life. So all of this is interesting, but really the most interesting thing about me happened when I was 15 years old. And when I was 15 years old, my parents were divorced and I'm the oldest of 4 children. And one night in December, about 2 weeks before Christmas, my mother decided to go out on a date. And as she left the house with her date, she turned back at the door and waved to us kids. And she says, bye, I'll see you in about 3 days. And we were like, what? But we're kids. So, we just rolled with it. We thought she was kidding. So we went to bed that night and we got up the next morning and mom hadn't come home. So we thought that was odd, but we went about our business. We went to bed that second night, got up the next morning, mom hadn't come home. Finally, day 3 comes and we're like, yay, it's day 3, mom's coming home. Day 3 came and went and mom didn't come home. Day 4 came, day 5 came. It's about a week before Christmas at this point, and we are starting to run out of food. Now I'm the oldest, so are you in the audience? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know who Mr. Rogers is? If you know who Mr. Rogers is, go ahead and type Mr. Rogers in the chat. Mr. Rogers, there's a video that's pulled out anytime something catastrophic happens in our world. And in the video, Mr. Rogers is talking about when he was a little boy and something overwhelming would happen, some bad news, something catastrophic would happen in the world. And Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. Look for the helpers. So I'm 15. My mom's gone. It's a week before Christmas. We're out of food. I needed helpers. So I called for help. And the social worker came. And the first thing that the social worker said to me is, Jean, it's a week before Christmas. And all of the resources that we have available to us to help families have already been allocated. We don't have any resources to help you and your siblings. So we need you to prepare yourself and your siblings, because they thought it would be easier if my siblings heard that news from me. We need you to prepare yourself for the fact that there won't be a Christmas celebration for you all. No Christmas gifts, no Christmas feast, no Christmas celebration. And that was really hard to hear, because even though I'm 15, what your heart knows and what your mind knows are sometimes not in alignment. And, my dad had already left us. My mother had just abandoned us. And now they're telling us that even Santa isn't coming. And we all know why Santa doesn't come. We must be some really bad kids. So that was difficult. The second thing that the social worker said to me is, Jean, it's a week before Christmas. And at any time of the year, to put 4 kids from one family into the same home is really difficult. A week before Christmas, it's impossible. We're not going to be able to put you in the same home. So we need you to prepare yourself and your siblings for the fact that we are going to have to separate you. Now, if the first news was difficult, this was devastating. Everything that we knew to be true in our world had just blown up. Nothing was true anymore. The only thing it felt like we had left was each other, and now they want to take that away from us too. So if any of you have a 15-year-old, which I do, and she's exactly like I was at 15, she knows everything. And I was 15 and I knew everything. And at hearing all this news, I decided that the cause of all of my problems was adults and their decisions they were making for me. So I became like the Grinch. I had no use anymore for adults. So the days go on. It's a couple of days. It's either the 23rd or 24th. I don't know which day it was. And they somehow made arrangements to keep us together until after Christmas. And they put us in this little mobile home in a seedy trailer park. And I'm in the trailer and I see this car pull up and I see the social worker get out. And I see another car pull up and I see other people get out and they're adults. Well, I don't do adults. So I go as far back in the trailer as I can to the very far back bedroom and I assume the position. Nobody's getting in. And the social worker comes in and she brings these other adults and they come with packages. And I'm in the back bedroom. The social worker comes back and she says, Jean, there's some people here, a nearby church heard about your family and they would really like to meet you. They've heard about you. Nope, not going out there. I don't do adults anymore. She's like, Jean, please, they brought some things for your family and for yourself. And you don't have to stay long. They just want to say hi. They just want to meet you. Nope, not going. I never did go meet those people. That did not stop them from doing what they came to do. They brought gifts. They brought food. They brought unconditional love, which was something we didn't even know existed. And they brought us the greatest gift that you can give anybody. And the one gift that all of us need, the gift that none of us can live without. They brought us hope. They brought us hope. So even though I didn't go out, I'm standing in the back room. And when I look at my life today, those people never got to hear thank you. I was not a gracious receiver. They never got to see that I would go on and become a leader in our community, that I would found a nonprofit organization that supports families in our community, that I would help women business owners stay in business during this pandemic. They never got to see any of those things. But when I stand here today and I look back on my life, it was in that moment. It was in that moment that my heart grew like the Grinch 3 times that day. And in that moment is the secret to success. And I'm going to share that with you. And again, it's simple, but don't mistake simple for easy. So the reason I've told you all this story, there's a whole lot of reasons. Number one, the secret to all success, however you define success, don't define it by anybody else's terms, but define it by your terms. But the secret to all success was in that moment, because it was in that moment that I made up my mind that I was going to become a helper and I was going to live a good life. And that's the secret. You make up your mind what you want to do and you put in the work. 2 things for success. Make up your mind what it is and put in the work. And seek the helpers. You're here today, you're already seeking the helpers. So give yourselves a round of applause because you're already doing the right things. So we're going to start there. The other reason I share that with you is because living a life you love all the time does not come from anything else that's out there. It doesn't come from who you know or don't know. It doesn't come from how much money you have or don't have. It doesn't come from how much education you have or don't have. It doesn't come from how old or how young you are. It doesn't come from any of those things that we think success comes from. It all comes from inside you. And are you willing to decide what that life you love looks like and put in the work? My life didn't go like this. It went like this, but I never lost sight of the goal. I'm going to live a good life. I'm going to become a helper. And so I just want to encourage you that whatever you're going through today, this is the journey. This isn't the end. You can live a life you love all the time. And I'm going to share 5 superpowers with you for how you can do that. And then lastly, real quickly, I want to say the other reason I share that is because we all have opportunities every day to choose kindness. And sometimes when we choose kindness, the people that we are being kind to may not even realize that they're being offered a kindness. They may not be gracious receivers. They might even be rude. But always choose kindness, because your kindness might just change a life. So, having said all that, let's talk about the superpowers. Superpower number 1, the power of habits. Habits have amazing power in our life. And the reason for that is there's this real thing called decision fatigue. Your brain can only make so many decisions in a day before it gets tired, and you're not making great decisions. But when you make something a habit for those things that we know are important to us, or those things that we want to do every day, you don't have to think about it. It's not a decision. You just get up and do it. I love to study people who do the extraordinary. And when you study people who do the extraordinary, you quickly find out they have good habits. They have better habits than us. If you look at folks like Steve Jobs, he wore the same outfit every day, his uniform, if you will. That was a decision he didn't have to make. So that's one less decision. He's freed up his mind for other decisions. Habits have enormous power because we do them without thinking. And they can have great power for the good, or they can have consequences we don't necessarily like my little girlfriend here. So we're going to look at some habits here. And I just want to say one more thing. Habits have more power than circumstances. So whatever circumstances you find yourself in today, habits have more power. So let's examine our habits. This is Michael Phelps. Until recently, he is now tied with Simone Biles, but until recently, he was the most decorated Olympic gold athlete in history. Now him and Simone Biles share that. And they both, as a matter of fact, credit their Olympic and athletic success to the power of their habits. So I was really interested in this. What are his habits? And I looked into what are Michael Phelps' habits? And I expected to find things like I swim every day for 6 hours, and then I go to the gym and I do strength training. And maybe he does. But those aren't the habits that he credits his athletic success to. 2 that I want to share with you that we can use in our own lives. Number 1, he's banished I can't. He's banished I can't from his vocabulary and the vocabulary of everybody who works with him. If you're on his team, he surrounds himself with people who do not say, I can't. We can do that. That's pretty easy for us. We have to quit saying I can't. I probably should have left my corporate career and started my business long before I did. But that was a little nagging thing, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Banish I can't. The second habit that Michael Phelps does, and his coach will tell you he does this better than anybody else he's ever met, is he uses the power of envisioning success. Why does this work? Because your brain, those who study the neuroscience of the brain, will tell you that your brain cannot distinguish between what you are envisioning and what's really happening. So Michael Phelps, by envisioning success, is training his brain for success. Famous football coach Vince Lombardi has a quote, winning is a habit. So is losing. So which side of that do we want to be on? Which habit do we want? Let's train our brains for success. What Michael Phelps does that's different than most that we can use is he doesn't just envision himself succeeding. He envisions the obstacles that he's likely to encounter. And he envisions himself overcoming those obstacles. And I'm going to share with you a little bit later about how we can do that in our own lives. Very powerful. So these are some habits that Michael Phelps uses that I wanted to share with you that we can use. There's a study by the National Bureau of Economic Research. And in this study, they tell us 98% of all people will die and never realize their life's dream. 98%. That means if there's 100 of us on this call, only 2 of us are living a life we love all the time. Well, we don't have to be there. We can all live a life we love all the time. So in the same study, they shared 7 habits that those 2% who live a life they love all the time, these are their top habits. And I'm going to share those with you right now. So the first one is, how do you start your day? Go ahead and type that in the chat. How do you start your day? So some of us start our day, maybe we start our job search, maybe we start our work day by logging into email. It's the number one way that people start their day. What happens when you log into email? You get sucked in. And I can get sucked into email, and I can be in email all day long, and I can be busy. And at the end of the day, I didn't make any progress towards what I'm really trying to accomplish. But I was busy. I was so busy all day. There's a difference between busy and productive. And email helps us feel busy, but are we being productive? The thing about email is it's reactive. And when you start your day reactive, you are working on somebody else's agenda. You are not working on your agenda. You are not working towards your goal. If you start your day reactive, you are much more likely to stay reactive all day long. So I would encourage you, however you start your day, don't start an email. Don't start with a reactive habit. Find a proactive habit to start your day. For me, I like to start my day by planning my time, because if we aren't intentional with our time, the day gets away from us and we aren't productive. So I know many of you have a to-do list, but take a few minutes and don't just make a list. Put the important things that forward your 90-day goal onto your calendar and put those on first. And then look at that to-do list. And if it doesn't support your goal, don't put it on your calendar. We want to do the important things. And so many times we do that backwards. We're like, I got to get through all these emails. And then when I have time, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do. And so we don't do the important things, often because they take us out of our comfort zone. Know what those important things are and put those on your calendar first. Start your day in a proactive way. Okay. Second habit, fitness plan. We know we need a fitness plan. And if my habit is I get up and take a walk in the morning, then I don't have to worry about fitness. I'm moving. It doesn't have to, we sometimes fail because we think we have to do big, giant things. So I want to encourage you to think small, think 1%. I just want to do something different. So if I make that a habit to add some movement, I can take care of fitness. But fitness isn't just physical, it's physical and spirit. And what I mean by that is we've got to nurture not just our physical fitness, but our spirit. And it feels counterintuitive to us in America because our American culture is all about do, go, 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 get. And we rarely take time for the spirit. And we value in our American culture those who do. So here's what I want to tell you, even though it's counterintuitive, studies show that those who take time to nourish their spirit actually are more productive. And here's why. When you nourish your spirit, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's something you read, maybe it's scripture, maybe it's a walk in nature, whatever it is that you do, maybe it's being creative, doing something super creative. Maybe it's using your imagination. Maybe it's just staring out the window and daydreaming. So it feels like I'm not being productive if I'm staring out the window and daydreaming. But here's what those who study the mind and study our productivity will tell you. When you engage those things that nourish your spirit, you actually use different parts of your brain. And it actually makes you more productive because now you have a whole different perspective because you're engaging more of your brain to solve whatever problem you're trying to solve. So take some time, put it on your calendar, make it a habit. Do you have a habit to nourish physical and spirit fitness? Self-talk. We've already talked about self-talk. We are not going to say I can't anymore, but I want you to hear this. The most important words that you hear every day are the words you say to yourself. The most important words you hear every day are the words you say to yourself. Because we believe the words we say to ourselves. So what are you saying to yourself? Are your words building you up or are they tearing you down? Are your words helping you reach your goal or are they distracting you away from that? And I know that's hard because, again, those who study the MRI of the brain will tell you your brain's going to fire off the things. Your brain's made a habit of whatever you say to yourself. So we're going to talk about how we change that in a little bit. But I want you to think about talking to yourself like you are your own best friend. Your best friends won't let you say bad things about yourself. Don't you say them either. Make sure your words are building you up and helping you reach your goal. Time wasters and distraction. So what's our biggest time wasters and distractions today? Probably this little gadget here, our phone, social media. So here's something interesting for you. University of California did a study and they found that every time you are interrupted from something you're doing, from a task you're working on, from one of those important things you put on your calendar to get done, every time you're interrupted, it takes you 23 minutes to recover. Even if it's a brief interruption. And the reason for that is your brain doesn't go back to where you left off, it starts all over. So this study found that the average American is losing 6 hours a day to time wasters and distractions, mostly social media and phone. That's 30 hours a week. What would you do with an extra 30 hours a week? I mean, it's mind-boggling. The thing is, I worked for AT&T for many years. This is a tool. It was designed to enhance our lives and be a tool that we use. The problem is the people who make all these cool apps that we love want to keep us engaged. So they turn all these notifications on. And every time something pops up, oh, I got an email, I got a social media post, we are distracted and we leave what we're doing and we go look at it. I really encourage you to take control of all of those distractions as much as we can. Turn off the notifications. Because if I'm working on an important task, what happens is we get that notification and it feels urgent. So we feel like we got to go look at it. So we close out of what we're doing and we go look at it and boom, we've just lost 23 minutes. Turn the notifications off. Schedule time on your calendar every 2 hours to go check for you can still look at how many emails you have. I can still look at all my apps and see I've got this many messages and I can still respond to them and I can still be timely, but I don't let it take me away from making progress towards those things that I know are going to help me reach my goals. You got to do those things. So don't just sit there and wait for the urgent request. Turn that off because there's a difference between urgent and important. Make time for the important things and turn the notifications off. It's life-changing, promise you. Okay, waiting for the future. I can't tell you how many people tell me someday I'm going to start a nonprofit. Someday I'm going to start my own business. When I retire, I'm going to write a book. Quit waiting for the future. You know what the truth is? Do you know when your life gets better? Your life gets better when you do. Let's get better now. Sorry, notification didn't get turned off. It's not a notification, it's actually a phone call, sorry. Okay, so growth mindset. This is, again, hugely important because everything is growing or dying. A tree, a plant, it's growing or dying. A relationship, a marriage, it's growing or dying. A business, it's growing or dying. If you don't have a habit for consistently evolving, the best that you can hope for is that you'll get outgrown. So if you are in transition right now, this is an excellent time to evolve. And I put this on my calendar so that I make sure I do it every week, because if we don't put it on our calendar, it doesn't happen. I put it on my calendar, and every Friday I'm listening to a podcast. I'm watching another motivational speaker. I'm reading something. I'm finding some way, just 1 hour every Friday, but I have a habit for consistently evolving. Do you have a habit for consistent growth? And then the last two I'm just put on here because, again, this is the list from people who are living a life they love, and I want you to live a life you love all the time. How do you help others and how do you spend your money? Those who are living a life they love is spend some of their time and some of their money helping others. Okay, so I want you to think for a minute, and we're going to start with what's positive. What's your best habit? And I just want you to take a minute and think about that. This is how you can engage this in your life. And the reason I want you to start with your best is because our minds have a negativity bias. And if we want to be positive, we have to be intentional. So be intentionally positive. Start with the positive. What's your best habit? My next question for you is, what's a life-changing habit for the good that you would like to implement? Many times we fail to implement a life-changing habit for the good because we see the end result and we want to jump to the end. Start small. Start with something, know what that big end goal is, but start today, start tomorrow, put it on your calendar and do something that you can commit to every day. Just 1% better. And eventually, if you get 1% better every day, this is from Atomic Habits, if you haven't read that book. All right, superpower number 2, the power of purpose. I'm flying back from a speaking gig and I was reading a Forbes article, and it said that the #1 trait that recruiters look for when they're going to hire a new CEO. So if I'm going to hire a new leader, what's the #1 trait I'm looking for? Purpose. Why is that? Because when you know your purpose, people will follow you. If you know and walk in your purpose, you can influence others to take action. Now, the reality is we're all leaders. We're all leading somebody. Maybe it's at work. Many times the leaders at work aren't the people with the titles. Maybe it's in a volunteer capacity. Maybe it's my family. Maybe it's just myself. I'm the CEO of my own life. If I want my life to be different, I'm the one that can make that happen, and I'm the only one that can make that happen. So do you know your purpose? Again, we're a culture of doers. We do, we get. We go to school, we get our degree, we get out of school, and we get a job, and we get a job, and we get stuff, and then we need stuff for our stuff. Have we ever stopped to figure out who we really are? Well, here's the truth. There are over 7 billion people in this world, and there is no one that has the same gifts that you do, with the same skills and the same knowledge and the same experience that you do. And when you use your gifts for your purpose, that is when the magic happens. That is when the ball just keeps rolling downhill and becomes a snowball. Your gifts, you've got your gifts. You were born with your gifts to fulfill your purpose. So if you don't know what your gifts are, and if you aren't sure, look to the things that you're passionate about, the things that you could do all the time and never get tired of. That's where your gifts are. And again, once you realize what they are, you can look back and you can see they've always been with you. When you look at 10-year-old Jean Breeze, at 10 years old, I was organizing all the kids on the street. And I'm like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, you want to be Miss America? I held a Miss 35th Street pageant. I wrote a play. So for somebody that wanted to be an actor. So I was always trying to help people live a life they love. So those gifts, whatever your gifts are, have been with you since you were born. Now's a great time to stop and ask yourself, what are my gifts? So how do we put this into practice in our own life? I'm going to give you a task that I gave to every new person that I ever hired. And it's really simple. Send an email out to 5 to 7 people and ask them this question. Please share with me 3 things that I do really well and 1 thing that I could be better at. 5 to 7 people, 3 things. Now, this is fantastic because if you send it to 7 people, you're going to get back 21 things that you do really well. And this is really awesome. Whenever you're having a bad day, whenever you get rejected, pull that list out and look at all those things you do really well. I keep mine in a special folder and I still pull it out from time to time and look at it. The amateur move here is to look at the things that people say you could do better and feel like you need to put a plan in place to get better at it. Don't do that. The reason I'm going to tell you not to do that is because we are a culture that loves the spectacular. And if I am mediocre at doing spreadsheets and I put a plan in place and now I'm okay, so what? That doesn't help me. That doesn't help an employer. Nobody wants somebody who's okay. So I want you to know what you could be better at, because if you don't know, you could be vulnerable. So know where you could be better, but spend your time on one of the things that you're already great at, because that's probably where your gift is, and put a plan in place to become spectacular. That will help you and further your career a lot more. Now, I'm going to tell you, the first time I did this, I was leading a sales team. I had about 150 salespeople that reported to me. I had a whole bunch of 10 sales managers, and I had all kinds of other job titles that reported to me that support a sales team. And I had taken this team over when they were failing. And now we're winning awards and our profit is good and our sales are through the roof. And I sent this out. And I sent it to friends. I sent it to people I worked with. I sent it to people that worked for me, people that I worked for. I wanted a really good mix. And I kept getting back the same answer about what I was good at. And it was like, Jean cares. Jean cares. And I was mad because I'm a sales director of sales, and I wanted something I could put on my resume. And I can't put on my resume, Jean cares, hire Jean as director of sales because Jean cares. Because again, our culture has told us and trained us that to look for certain things. But here's the truth. Every one of my teams is an award-winning team because I care. When you care about everybody on your team being 100%, being the best they can be, then your team can do things that people think are impossible. My sales results were good because I cared about my clients. That was my secret sauce. And why I'm telling you this is because whatever comes back for you as your strength, don't do what I did. I discounted that. I said, I can't make a living caring. Nobody's going to pay me because I care. That was faulty thinking. Whatever comes back at your strength, that's your gift given to you to fulfill your purpose. Figure out a way to become amazing at it. And I promise the rest will flow from there. So don't listen to our culture. Become amazing at the gifts you were given. Okay, superpower number 3. I'm checking the time here. Superpower number 3, the power of your beliefs. We've all seen something like this before. Some people say it's 2 faces. Some people say it's a vase. Some people say it's a table. Let me ask you guys, are all of those things true? Yeah, it's all true. Here's the thing about a belief. A belief is something, it's a conclusion that we've come to based on our experiences or based on something somebody's told us, but it's a conclusion. There might be another perspective, or maybe that conclusion was for a certain season in our life, but now we're in a different season. So just because it was true in the past doesn't mean it's always true. I like to say that there's 2 kinds of truth. There's truth with a lowercase t that might be true in the moment. It might be true in the season. It might not even be true. It might be something that our family told us. It's not even really true. or somebody else close to us. And there's truth with a capital T. There's the absolute truth. There is an absolute truth for everything. But sometimes the lowercase truths can get us crazy. So for me, you heard my story. I was lucky to finish high school. I did not go on and get a college degree. And here I am at a Fortune 10 company, and I'm working in, an executive role, and everybody around me has a college degree. And I thought, I'm not educated enough. I probably should have left the corporate world long before I did, but I thought, I'm not educated enough. That wasn't true. That wasn't true. Here's some things that can hang us up. Lowercase t truths. I can't. We've already talked about that. Banish that. What if I fail? That's not the way we do it. Close cousins of the 4 words of doom. 4 words of doom. Don't say this ever, and don't let anybody on your team or around you or that's trying to help you say this. I already know that. Those are the 4 words of doom. I already know that. If you already know it, you do not have a growth mindset, and you will be outgrown. So don't already know it. Come to everything you do with the curiosity of somebody new. Bring your experience, but come with the curiosity of somebody new. It won't make a difference. I shouldn't get my hopes up. And my favorite one of all, I'm not blank enough. Mine was, I'm not educated enough. Maybe it's, I'm not fast enough. Maybe it's, I'm not smart enough. Maybe it's, I'm not pretty enough. Maybe it's, I'm not thin enough. Whatever it is for you, I know it's already running in your mind, because those who study the brain, when they do MRIs, they can see that what happens is we've said these things in our mind to ourselves so often that it actually has made tracks in our brain. And these things fire like a train. They go right out of the chute and you can't stop it. The train has left the station. So sometimes people will tell you, well, just don't say those negative things. Well, you can't, because your brain is automatically going to send that message. So what we have to do is we have to change the message. It's going to fire the message. We need to change it. And so how we do that is we engage Michael Phelps's power of envisioning. So I want you, if you've got a note paper, I want you to write down, what's your one thing? What's that thing that popped up into your head immediately? And then not right now, but later, what I want you to do, put this on your calendar, make time to do it, is I want you to find the ultimate truth for whatever that thing is for you. For me, it was, I'm not educated enough. I've been a speaker now for 5 years. You know how many times somebody's asked me what my education is before they hired me? 0. Nobody cares what my education is. You know what the absolute truth is? I have everything I need. I have everything I need. So find your absolute truth. You can find that in meditation. You can find that in prayer. You can find that in scriptures. You can find that in something you read. You can find that through a coach or a mentor or a trusted advisor. Find the ultimate truth for whatever your thing is. Look for a helper. And then what you do is you sit quietly and you close your eyes and you see yourself in the struggle. And then you watch it like you're watching a movie. And then you invite the absolute truth in and see how that changes the picture. And right now, what you do when you're starting this, because you need to retrain that brain, you need to retrain it. So instead of firing, I'm not enough, you fire, I have everything I need. And the way you retrain it is you make it a habit. So what I do is I write my absolute truth and I put it where I can see it. Sometimes I've had it on my mirror. Sometimes I've had it on my computer, because if I'm sending out resumes, I want to see it on my computer so that I don't get fearful. So when I get nervous and I think I can't respond to this job offer, I see my truth. I have everything I need. And I go ahead and submit it. So every day you see it, every day you speak it, because when you speak it, it puts power out there. And every day, envision it. Envision yourself succeeding. Let that absolute truth in. So that's how we're going to use that power of envisioning to change our brain and change our false beliefs. Okay, superpower number 4, the power of people. This one is so huge right now. for those who are in career transition. And it's huge right now because as we come out of the pandemic, we've all been isolated. And everything we do now, we do different than we did before. We don't celebrate the same way we used to celebrate. We don't work the same. We don't play the same. We don't have our holidays the same. We don't vacation the same. And so for the last 2 years, we've been isolated. But the reality is, whoops, we went the wrong way. This study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, if you double the friends in your circle, it has the same effect on your well-being as giving yourself a 50% increase in your raise, in your income. It's like giving yourself a raise. Now, I would encourage you, don't just double the number of people in your circle to double the number of people. Let's be intentional. Let's be intentional with our time and let's be intentional with our resources. So this saying here, if you hang out with chickens, you're going to cluck. If you hang out with eagles, you're going to fly. Doesn't mean eagles are better. Doesn't mean chickens are bad. It simply means if I'm going to do something new, if I'm going to do something extraordinary, if I'm going to do something I've never done before, who's in my circle? I need a woo-hoo crowd, not a boo-hoo crowd. And many times we have people, if you're going to do something you've never done before, there's always going to be naysayers. And many times it's those people closest to us. So I encourage you, make sure you have a woo-hoo crowd. And I encourage you to take advantage, if you're in career transition, to take advantage of being intentional with who you add to your network. If I'm looking for a job at a specific company, I want to get to know some people at that company. LinkedIn is a great tool that I believe is most underutilized for people, for all people, actually, to just be honest with you. And so I'm going to give you some tips about how we can use this. We're going to keep going. I'm going to share some tips with you. I also wanted to give you some more knowledge about what's happening right now for those who are looking for a job or a new job. 87% of recruiters use LinkedIn to check candidates. I was talking to a gal the other day, and she said to me that she was getting a lot of first interviews, but not getting called back for second interviews. And I said to her, let's connect on LinkedIn. And she says, I probably need to update that. Yeah, you need to update that. 87% of recruiters are using LinkedIn. You've got LinkedIn experts on here after I get done talking today. Stay and talk to them. Make sure your LinkedIn is up to date. On average, each corporate job offer attracts 250 resumes. 4 to 6 will get called for an interview and only 1 will get the job. I just want you to know that, because I know that looking for a job, I've been in that position. I've been out of work and spent months where I'm looking for a job. And I'm going to tell you, it's hard on a person. It's hard on your soul. I don't want you to feel like you're alone. If you're experiencing this, you are not alone. This is what's happening to everybody. Just keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing the right thing and it will eventually pay off. 1 in 6 candidates who applied for the job were asked for an interview. Whoops, I thought I had one more on here that I wanted to share with you. Can I not see it? Whoops, I'm going backwards, guys. Okay. I don't know what's going on now. We're going the wrong way. So what I wanted to tell you, why I wanted to share those statistics with you, is because I wanted you to understand how important it is to connect with people. So I'm going to give you some tips. I do believe LinkedIn is the most underutilized tool. One of the other statistics on there was that the percentage of people who find a job through networking. And I don't remember exactly what it was. It was either 83 or 86. It was somewhere in the 80% actually find their jobs by connecting with other people through their networking. So if you don't have time on your calendar every day for networking, put that on your calendar. Who do I need to meet? Because we aren't meant to do this alone, and others can help you. So use your LinkedIn, use it every day. Reach out to 10 people that you are already connected to on LinkedIn and just send them a quick message and tell them, hey, I'm currently in career transition and this is what I'm looking for. You know, do you know of any opportunities, or can you, and especially if they're in the industry that you're in, can I meet with you and talk to you for a few minutes? Schedule a meeting and talk to them, connect with other people in that industry. And the reality is that we are all learning from somebody. Luke had Yoda, Katniss had Haymitch, Daniel had Mr. Miyagi, Wonder Woman had General Antiope, the Kung Fu Panda had that little white thing. So who's leading you? Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a trusted advisor? I would really encourage you to find one. And then the last tip that I want to share with you, if you're an introvert, if I'm going to an event, I want to network. People think networking is about quantity, and I'm going to tell you it's not. I can say that most assuredly because I have a lot of years of sales experience. Networking is not about quantity. Networking is about quality. If I'm going to an event, spend a little time before you go and see who else has signed up and see who you want to know. I'm a speaker. If I'm going to an event, who hires speakers? Event planners. I look and see who's going. Are there any event planners going? If there are, I want to meet them. And then with LinkedIn, I can see who I know that knows that person, and I can ask that person to introduce me. So if I'm an introvert, I don't have to reach out to somebody I don't know. I reach out to my friend and say, hey, can you introduce me to Jessica? So use those tools. If you're an introvert, use LinkedIn and find a mentor. And this is how we put this into action in our own lives. Okay. The last superpower, the power of action. Nothing else I told you matters if we don't move into action. And studies tell us that people will come to something like this and you're going to walk away. You've got a lot of great ideas now. And maybe you're feeling motivated and maybe you're feeling empowered or inspired. What happens is they go away and then the next morning they get up and they log into email and they get sucked in and nothing changes. We don't move into action. 10%, only 10%, according to studies, move into action. Why do you think we don't move into action? Fear. Fear is the number one reason. And what do you think we fear? We fear failure. But I'm here to tell you that nobody who's done anything, nobody who's reached success hasn't had some failure along the way. And if you think about that, anything I'm learning to do, I think about my son when he was learning to dive and he stood on the end of the diving board and he was 4 years old and he was afraid to jump in. And he was afraid, he was afraid, and he was afraid. And you just have to do it. Taking action is the antidote for fear. And I want you to give yourself permission to fail. If I'm looking at a job and I think I don't meet enough of those requirements that I shouldn't apply, rethink that. Maybe maybe it not specifically the way it's asked, but maybe I have other experiences in other areas that would lend itself to that. Go ahead and apply. Don't be afraid to fail. Take action, fail, learn from your failure, and then adjust. This is the secret. This is how you get to success. This is how anybody who's done anything has gotten there. We take action, we learn, fail, we learn, and we adjust. And again, case in point, my daughter, she started her career as a sales and she'd call me every day. What do I do in this situation, Mom? What do I do in this situation, Mom? What do I do in this situation? And finally, one day she says, how do you know all these things, Mom? Because I did them all wrong. I did them all wrong. Now you don't have to. So again, take action and find that coach. Find somebody in the industry that you're looking for and learn from them. But take action. That's the most important thing. So here's your here's your superpowers: habits, action, purpose, people, and your beliefs. And as I wrap all this up today, I want to leave you with this. I want you to pick one thing. Pick one thing from everything that I've said and everything I've shared. And I want you to put that on your calendar. And I want you to do that in the next 24 hours. Again, studies tell us if you put it on your calendar, it's likely to happen. And if you take action in the next 24 hours, you are much more likely to keep taking action, and it will become like that snowball, and you'll realize all of the success that you're looking for. So we all have to follow through in life. If you think about tennis and I'm serving and I throw the ball up and I bring my net up here, my racket up here, and I go like this, my ball's going over there. If I bring my net and I follow through like this, my ball's going over there. The great thing about follow through is when you have good follow through, you know where you're going to land. And we have to follow through in everything we do in life. If I don't make my house payment, they get crabby at me. You have to follow through in everything we do. If you have good follow through, you know where you're going to land. And if you have good follow through, you can change the direction of the path that you're on. So you have two things to do. Pick one thing that's going to be the biggest impact for you, put it on your calendar and do that in the next 24 hours. And that's it. Thank you all. I'm so excited to have been here with all of you today.
Jean, thank you so much. You are just so wonderful and encouraging and hope-filled. And we greatly appreciate you. I would like you all to think about what Jean said. What's one thing you're going to put on your calendar or you're going to commit to over the next 24 hours? Could you drop that in the chat? I'd love to see some of the things that people are going to take away from this. Just go ahead and drop it in. What are some of the things you're thinking from the talk today? What's one thing you're going to commit to, or one thing you're going to try, or one thing you're going to put on your calendar in the next 24 hours? Also, I wanted to mention that there was a question about the recording. We are recording this right now, and it will be posted in up by tomorrow morning, right on our website. Joey, if you could just drop the link directly to our webinars. We'll talk about it again at the end, but those are up within 24 hours. We do not send out the slide deck for two reasons. One, it's a very big file. And two, there's intellectual property built into these PowerPoint presentations from various speakers all over the world. So but it will be available for you to view online by tomorrow morning. So good. I'm seeing a couple things here. Learning more about LinkedIn, sending out an email to 7 people, what I do good, and I think what I can work on and improve. I love that, Valerie. Thank you. Chelsea, a devotional every morning, get some movement in the day. Shelly, form some new habits, especially networking. That is fantastic. Krista, starting her day with gratitude and a walk. Perfect. I love it, you guys. These are really great habits to start forming and some action to take over the next 24 hours. Thank you, Joey. Joey dropped in the LinkedIn URL or the URL for the webinars. And so again, you can go back and look at all of our past webinars from the last 2.5 years. And also the new one will be posted by tomorrow morning. All right, thank you so much, Jean, and Sheila will be available to chat with in just a few minutes at our breakout sessions as well. So if you have some additional questions for her, please stick on the line. I would like to introduce you all to our great friend, Gian Boldi. He, after graduating from ASU with a degree in business management and a certificate in entrepreneurship, Gian began his career in personal finance, which gave him the ability to do what he loves, help people while also using his financial skills. In addition to his degree from ASU, he also has a certificate in personal finance planning from UCLA, which he received with distinction. Also, Gian has been awarded the 5-Star Financial Professional Award and also been included in Phoenix Magazine. And when he is not a financial advisor, this guy serves our community. He's very active. He's been a volunteer with Career Connectors since way back in the day, since probably about 2010, I think. And then he is currently our treasurer on the board of directors. He's also a member of the Chandler Lions Club and a volunteer with the Fresh Start Women's Foundation. He and his wife, Jennifer, have 2 amazing boys, Scott and Grayson, and then they also have 3 Chihuahuas, Barkley, Figgy, and Bumble, which I love. So welcome, Gian. We love having you here. Welcome to the call.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to speak in front of a lot of groups, but one downside in speaking in front of Career Connectors is I'm unlike Jean, I'm not a professional speaker, and I get on these calls or in person the meetings when we did it that way, and I have to follow a speaker like Jean. So hopefully it's not too much of a letdown to follow someone like Jean. But I'm here to talk about your finances. I know when you're in career transition, that's a big topic. So I'm going to give 10 tips for your finances during career transition. I'll go through them, and then I'll be here at the end in the breakouts if anybody has any questions or wants to talk more about your own personal situation. So if we can move to the next slide. Tip number 1 is understand your unemployment benefits. I'm by no means an expert at unemployment. When I do have questions, I go to azdes.gov. That's if you're in Arizona. So I guess now when we're doing these webinars, we might have people from other states. But the Department of Economic Security website for your state would probably be the equivalent. On there, you can actually apply for unemployment benefits. I've seen people who I assumed would get unemployment benefits that have been rejected. So if you're in that boat, you can also appeal. The other thing I recommend is apply for unemployment benefits right away. Don't wait. Quick story around that. I had a client who lost his job. I encouraged him to apply. He said, I have always gotten another job quickly. He didn't apply. A month went by, 2 months, 3 months. He applied, and then he got a new job about 2 weeks later. So he missed out on a few months of benefits that he's paid taxes for, he's deserving of. So I encourage you to apply right away. Next slide. Tip number 2, don't forget to keep paying taxes. So no one wants to get surprised and have a tax bill at the end of the year. So just because you're receiving unemployment benefits doesn't mean Uncle Sam doesn't want his cut of that. So be aware, if you're not having taxes withheld from your unemployment benefits, that you should owe taxes on that, and you could owe more at the end of the year than you're expecting. So I don't want anybody to be surprised by that. So next slide, please. So we talked about paying taxes, and I've yet to meet the person that has told me they want to pay more taxes than they have to. So if you're that person, you'd be the first for me. So there are some job hunting expenses you can deduct. So things like if you met with a professional resume writer, if you printed your resume on cardstock, if anybody prints resumes anymore. This is one thing people still do. If you traveled to and from an interview, so the mileage to and from an interview could be deducted. If anybody is open to relocating, if it's in the same industry and you relocate over 50 miles away, you can deduct those moving expenses. So that, I mean, I was telling some of the people here on the call this morning that we're doing some renovations at our house. So we moved out for the summer, and even just moving out for a couple months, we had moving expenses that were somewhat substantial. So that can definitely be a benefit in not paying more taxes than you have to. Next slide, please. Tip number 4, go back to school, advance your skills, learn something new. We all get the question in the interviews, what have you been doing while you've been unemployed other than looking for a job? The way I look at it is, what better way to answer that than saying, I've been getting a new skill that can help me be a better candidate for this job. So if that's getting a Microsoft Office certification, or improving your Excel skills, or getting a certificate, you know, in whatever it is that'll help you in your field, that's a good time to do it. Next slide. So become underemployed. This is not necessarily something that you need to do right away, but at a certain point, you know, you might want to consider either taking a job in a different field, or one strategy that I like is, if you have target companies, it could be that, you know, if you're looking for an HR director job, maybe you take an HR manager job, or maybe you take a different job in that organization, and you know, get to know them, they get to know you, and work your way into that ideal job. So that's another option that's available. Next slide, please. This is my favorite tip, because it's something everyone can do, and that's budget, budget, budget. We've all heard the saying, a penny saved is a penny earned. That's never more true than when we don't have the money coming in that we're used to having coming in. So one thing I recommend if you're trying to get started with a budget is go back and look at your expenses for the past few months. Most people pay all their expenses out of the same account, whether that's a credit card or a checking account. Go back and look, see where it is, and categorize it. I personally just keep that on an Excel spreadsheet. And that way, when you know where all the money is going, then you can make an educated decision on, you know, if you feel like you need to reduce your expenses, where you can reduce from. We all know what the large expenses are: the mortgage, car payment, or rent, insurance, but there's a lot of other things that go into our budget, and we might not know exactly what those are. So until you know what exactly those are, you can't make as educated a decision as you need on where you can cut from if you feel like you need to do that. Next slide, please. So the first 6 tips were pretty easy to implement. The next 3 are a little bit more technical. So if you have any questions on the next 3, like I said, I'll be here during the breakouts and could walk you through your situation and kind of give you some tips on how to implement that. So tip number 7, how many of you know when you could typically take money out of a retirement account without paying a penalty? If you know, you can type it in there. Typically it's 59.5, but just like most other rules, they say there's always an exception to every rule. The IRS has that too. And in this case, that's rule 72T, or what they call substantially equal distributions. So if you are between 55 and 59.5 and you agree to take the same amount of money out of your account for 5 years, you can take that out. You still have to pay taxes if it's a traditional IRA, but you can avoid that 10% penalty. And like I said, no one wants to pay more taxes than they have to. So that 10% savings can be pretty substantial. Next slide, please. So the next tip is, we've all had that moment. I know I've seen it when you leave a job and you get that COBRA bill and you realize, oh, wow, health insurance is really expensive. It's also, for a lot of people, really important. So one option is you can use funds from an IRA. Now, this is specific to an IRA. It's not a 401k or another retirement plan, to purchase health insurance. So if you feel like you're in that boat and that's something you need to keep and it's expensive during this time, that would be an option. And you can take it out. Again, you would have to pay taxes, but you don't have to pay a 10% penalty. Next slide, please. So tip number 9, you can also reverse a contribution you made to your IRA within the same year. So for example, let's say I put in $5,000 to my IRA yesterday, and today I use my job and I think, oh wow, that money could have been better used as part of my emergency fund, or to get me through the next couple of months a little bit better. You can reverse that contribution, and then when you land a job, if you like, you can put that contribution back in. So that's another option. And again, those last 3 are a little bit more technical. So if you think those might be a fit, feel free to talk to me in the breakout and I can walk you through how to implement that. Tip number 10, next slide, please. And this number 10 kind of goes back to something that Jean was talking about too. And I saved this for last because depending on how you look at it, it could be the easiest thing to do or it could be the hardest thing to do, and that's ask for help. So we've all had periods in there, times when we could use a helping hand. As Jean said, looking for the helpers. There are a lot of helpers here at Career Connectors, for example. So there are resume writers, LinkedIn coaches, myself. If you have questions with your finances, we're all willing to help you. But it could even be asking a friend to review your resume or to do a mock interview with you, or for a ride somewhere. It could be anything. Ask for help, because if you don't ask, you don't know. And there are people out there that want to help you. And that, not to say that everyone will help you, but there are people out there. And the worst thing that can happen if you ask for help is they say no or ignore you, and then you're in the same position you were before you asked. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I said, there are people here that want to help you. And I've been volunteering, as Jessica said, with Career Connectors since 2010. So for almost 12 years now. And I know this is a great organization. And so you guys that are looking for work are in the right place. So congratulations on being here. And we hope you find what you're looking for soon.
Thank you so much, Gian, for the helpful tips. There's Gion's information if you'd like to get in touch with him. But again, he'll be sticking around for the breakout sessions, and he's just really great at what he does and super helpful. So thanks for being here. We appreciate you. All right. Okay, so we're going to close this thing out, but we're not going to leave the call. So this is the time. I'm going to go through some resources right now, and then we're going to let you guys do some interactions in small groups with our resume writers and LinkedIn coaches and speakers today. So hang tight while we get to that portion of the call in just a few minutes. First of all, if you have any feedback for us, please shoot us a note. Just send it over to contact@careerconnectors.org. If you have a specific maybe topic you'd like us to address. For example, in next month or the month after, we have Update Your Resume Month. We're going to be doing a resume panel. So we're going to be talking some really hot topics next month. I'll tell you about our events in a minute. But so anything you have, any guidance you have for us, any additional assistance you need, we are happy to answer those questions. Someone had dropped in the chat, Vilma, I think it was, that you are able to get your different certification trainings paid for by the state, whether it's through unemployment or your local workforce agencies. So if you have questions on how to do that, we can guide you in the right place. And so there's lots of resources when you are in active career transition that are available to you. I know many of you are on the call today that are actually, you're in a current job and you're just maybe sticking your foot in the water, your toe in the water, you're kind of seeing what is out there. Maybe you're using this as a development opportunity. And so we have resources as well for you. Thank you so much to our partners. We couldn't do this without you. We recently got a grant from APS, another one from Maricopa County. And so we're really looking at different funding sources so that we can keep providing these resources at no cost to the community. Also, we have a couple additional resources. If you have never taken the DISC assessment, feel free to log on, get onto our website, and you can go to the careerconnectors.org/DISC, and you will be able to take this at no cost to you. It's about a 24-page assessment. And you'll learn a little bit about your communication style, your ideal work environment. It talks about strengths. And so if you're struggling with identifying your key strengths, like Jean had talked about today, that DISC assessment will have them listed right there for you. So feel free to take that. And again, the webinar will be posted later today or early tomorrow morning. And then we are also available on a whole bunch of different social media platforms as well. Okay, so we have a couple really cool events coming up. Thursday, June 23rd is a construction event, and this is for entry level. It's also for hands-on construction folks, trades, all the way up to executive level professionals, like the professional support positions, finance, IT, etc. So the full gamut, and that's going to be on site. Finish talking about the rest of these events in just a minute. We are doing July 14th, career options that welcome age, race, and gender diversity. And so we always hear things like, I'm not being chosen because of my age, I'm too old, or I'm too young. If you can believe some people say that, that's true. People feel that way. And there is some legitimacy to some of that stuff. Or I don't have a degree, or whatever the thing is. And so we have a phenomenal keynote, Brenda Cunningham, coming in, and she does a great talk about this and how to address them. And then on Thursday, July 28th, we are doing a virtual event around healthcare and social assistance. Some really cool events coming up. So the first one, June 23rd, that is going to be in Phoenix. If you want to flip to the next slide, Bree, that is on June 23rd at 3:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. We are going to have a food truck with tacos there. We're feeding everybody. And it's going to be at Gateway Community College, Central City. So get onto our website, register for this one. It's going to be a great event. We have over 30 companies coming that are in this industry. Again, everything from trades to professional to executive level. And if you or you know someone that's just maybe interested in this industry, we have apprenticeships that are going to be featured here, internships that are available, thousands of jobs. Like, it's going to be a great day. And I think there's a misconception about construction and the salaries. Like, the people that are in, and that's why we're calling it Pathways, Careers and Pathways Expo, because the construction industry is vibrant. And it's vibrant, especially if you're here in Arizona. So the opportunities for the career pathways in construction is just, there's so many opportunities. So I encourage you to jump in, come to that event. That one is in person. So that one's in the Phoenix area. And then on July 14th, we have a virtual event. And this is the career options that welcome age, race, and gender diversity. And then we have 2 speakers on that. And there are just phenomenal women that address both of these. This is a virtual event, so you can join us on July 14th. And we have a new partnership with the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, which is allowing us to have some of these bigger hiring events, both virtual, and that can serve everybody nationally. And then we do have some on site we need to have to cover the grant, and that is through AZ Careers Now. So you're welcome to look at our site on AZ Careers Now as well for some additional resources. All right, our website is careerconnectors.org. The resources tab is on the left. You'll see event registration right in the middle, and then the event recordings, which is what we've talked about a couple times. You can find this call right on that option right there. Thank you so much to all the people that are serving today. We know some of you have just jumped on the call to get into breakout rooms. So thank you so much for being here. We couldn't do this without our amazing volunteers that help serve career connectors in this community. All right, if you would like to volunteer, we have a website for you to go to, careerconnectors.org/volunteer. Fill out the short information profile, and then we'll get back in touch with you on opportunities. And once again, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. And so after you land into your next great career, if you feel like giving a hand up to the next person in line to follow you, then we would love your donation. And so it costs us about $42 per person to run this program, and you can get onto our website and donate from there. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to pass it off to Bree, and she is on our team, and she's going to talk about how to get into the breakout rooms and what to do there. But I want you all to know that my team and I, we are praying for you that you land into the career of your dreams. Thank you so much for being here today.
All right, so I'm just gonna explain the breakout room portion really quick. Once I open the breakout rooms, you will go to your tools bar at the bottom. You'll click on breakout rooms, and you'll see a list of breakout rooms you can join. So you can choose whichever one you want to join. Just tap on join and it'll bring you into that room. You can do the same thing if you want to move from room to room. And at any time you can also leave the breakout rooms and come back to this main Zoom session if you have any questions. And then at the end, so we'll do about an hour-ish of breakout rooms. And at the end, we'll send a 1-minute warning when we're about to close the breakout rooms. So I will go ahead and open them.
Awesome. So we'll have our speakers go ahead and join your breakout rooms. And then anyone, you can go ahead and start joining into the different breakout rooms as well. And if you have any problems or you have any issues getting into a breakout room, just you can drop it in the chat and let us know. You can unmute yourself and let us know that you're having a problem getting in, and we can kind of send you to the place that you would like to go. Good. People are moving around. Great. Hey, Bree, I haven't seen Tom come in yet. Do you know, did you hear from him?
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, he was supposed to be on. So let me send him an email right now.
I'm just going to jump in that room and let her know we are working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Shelley and Kevin. How are you two today?
Hi, Joey.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Good.
How was your, did you get a chance to connect with Melissa at United Way? Did you
You know
guys?
what? We have a Zoom meeting today.
Oh, good. She's
Yeah.
delightful. You will love her.
Yeah.
She will
Okay.
love you.
Wonderful.
That'll be it. That's really exciting. I'm so glad that she jumped on that right away. I figured that she.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you making that connection.
Oh, happy to.
Yeah. I owe you an email. You sent me like a follow-up, and I was going to respond to that, and just it's on my list. So I'm planning to reach back
Oh
out.
gosh, no worries. Did I ask you a question about some of the things? I think one of the things I read, I think I asked you a question, but gosh, no worries. Whenever you get to it, it's okay.
And I think that you had like mentioned that you had followed up with things, and I was super excited to see all your progress. So,
oh, well, I have that meeting with the ASU group. I think it's this afternoon.
oh, good for
which
you.
I'm really excited to just kind of, they were having
Yeah.
an informational session that was so intriguing to me. So
Yes.
I'm very curious to explore that. And then
Yeah.
I already did that. I did that survey. And so Jessica and I are going to talk about that probably next week realistically. And so, yeah, I'm just really, really trying to jump into some of those tools and really jumped into
Sure.
some searching. So anyway, so are
Yeah.
you gonna jump into one of the other rooms right now?
You know what I was doing? I was just looking at the LinkedIn connections and connecting with people.
Oh,
That's
nice.
what I
That's
was
a great idea.
doing.
Oh, yeah, because you can do
Yeah.
that in the chat now and not have to pay attention and do that because it's hard to do that.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I find that more focused I am, the more effective I am. You know, if I'm trying to do 3
Thank
things at a time, then I'm kind of scattered. So
Yes.
yeah, for me, just one thing at a time is better. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, well, yeah, I'll look at that email and shoot you a response. I'm not remembering what it was that I was going to say.
Gosh, Shelley,
So
no
I'll-
rush on that. No rush, not even a little bit. So just whenever you get to that, great. And enjoy your meeting with Melissa. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to that connection continuing.
Yeah.
To go.
Yeah, me too. So
And
much.
were you ever able to hear about the other position in Mesa, which you don't have to talk about out loud right now, but that you were kind of interested in Mesa? There was an option for you that you were kind of potentially interested in.
Oh, I think it was the one, yeah, with Jewish Family and Children's Services. Maybe, and then I had found out they had filled that already.
Is that the one where your friend left?
Yes.
Oh, there's Tom Carr.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, was it that one? I think I thought your friend would left a different organization. I didn't realize that was that one. Okay, good. So you found out about that. You had a friend that just recently left an organization that you were looking at.
Maybe it was, well, it was just a networking contact through Mesa United Way. She had just, maybe that was the one we had talked about.
Yes. Yes.
Where she joined her husband's company or nonprofit called Heal the Hero.
Yes, that one.
That was just more of, she's less that I was looking at Mesa United Way and more that she's just a friend and colleague that we had worked on projects together.
Okay.
You know, from Paz de Cristo and Mesa United Way.
Yes.
So I'm not sure about the conversation, but yeah, I think that may have been it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just know you said she had left somewhere and you were inquiring about where she had left.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, right.
Well, good. Well,
Lots of things going on.
You say that again?
Lots of things are going on, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of movement. Yeah. But I can totally see career connectors, you know, leveraging that service enterprise. You're already doing it and doing it really effectively. It just takes you to another level. Like, you know, they have several best practices throughout that really touch all areas of an organization to be a service enterprise. And
yes.
really,
Well, that questionnaire that you gave me really made me look at, oh my goodness, so many options to look at. So yeah. Things for us to think about. So that was very helpful. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Well, and the philanthropy mindset, you know, is just one where the donor is valued and that relationship with the donor.
Yes.
And respecting them and considering the donor.
Yes.
Really plays a role, really that mindset, that value. Mm-hmm. Changes how you measure success. You know, if you have a campaign, is the success measured by net revenue, return on investment, the number of donors retained? Like, how do you measure success? You know, so you just begin to look at things differently, and telling stories is a huge part of that. So it's not only that you have a few stories to tell, but you have mechanisms woven throughout the organization to tell those stories. And maybe even impact is measured on how the donor's life is transformed by being part of your organization, not just the client or the recipient of services, but the one who funds the services, how their lives are changed. So just lots of viewpoints. I hope it's beneficial to you. I'd love to hear how it all plays out.
Yes. Well, we'll stay in touch. We'll keep chatting.
Yeah, we will.
Shelley, thank you so much for working with Joey. It's like what you helped her with, and then what she was able to come up with from there has been really phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Yeah, God is so good. He's done the same thing for me. Yeah, so he's just showing you new things. That's exciting.
And how, where are you? Is there any connections we can help you with? Is there anything we can do for you right now?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you asking that. I'm really working to get like my LinkedIn profile good to go and my resumes. I have like a whole to-do list here and some networking. And as those names and organizations surface, I'll be sure to reach out.
Absolutely. Great. I have a lot of connections through Valley Leadership. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but
Yeah.
okay, so I've been part of Valley Leadership, and a lot of nonprofits are part of that. So I do have that decent network there, but you know, we're here helping make introductions if you'd like. We
Oh,
really appreciate
fabulous.
you.
Okay, thank you. I so appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to keeping on here with these LinkedIn connections, and then I've got a meeting at like 11, so I'll probably scoot after that. But thank you so much. Your speaker today was fabulous.
Seems awesome. We love
Yeah,
her.
she is. Yeah, yeah. Well, good to see you. You guys
too.
have a great rest of your week.
All right.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
Shelley.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
I'm looking at the rooms, and Nicole's room has a ton of people. I wonder if we need to make sure we start having 2 LinkedIn coaches, especially with the change in our format.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, he definitely has a lot of people.
yeah. I'm gonna run to the restroom, Joey. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hi, Veronica. Anything I can help with? You're on mute, and you probably know that, but just if you're trying to talk to me, I can't hear you because you're on mute. And if you're not trying to talk to me, no worries. Just want to check in and see if I could help with anything.
Joey, I am so sorry about yesterday and not getting back in touch with you. I was nonstop the rest of the day.
I figured, and you know what? I had meetings on and off anyway, so I just called you when I had a minute, and so it worked out fine because I had lots of meetings yesterday too. So we'll regroup, reconnect.
What do you have today? Do you have any time open? Or tomorrow, actually, I'm almost open the whole day.
Okay, let's see. Today, tomorrow. Today I have meetings at 1 o'clock. Have you done anything, Jessica, with service enterprise information through ASU? Because I don't think so. That Shelley had connected me with. They basically work as a consultant and kind of a leadership coach with you and your team, where you look at an area of your business and they help through people who want to volunteer. They help, I believe, find volunteers that want to serve in an area that you're interested in.
I've heard of it. I've never been involved.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna meet with them. They're doing an informational session today at 1, 1 to 2, because I'd love to pull a team together in relation to funding. Like, I just feel like that would be a really wise, and they have someone who coaches you along the way. And Shelley just raved about how great it was. So that's today. And then I had one more thing. Oh, and then I have a 2:30 with a candidate that I met in Avondale that just really wanted to ask me a couple questions. So I'm meeting with her at 2:30. So, but that's all I have today. So if there's a time that works, so I'm blocked from 1 to 2 and from 2:30 to 3. But other than that, I'm open. So you tell me if there's some time that works for you.
1 to 2. When you're done with your 1 o'clock, I'm available until about 2:30. Well, you have a 2:30, so we can go there, or I'll be home at 4:30.
Okay, well, why don't I plan to call you, or do you want to Zoom at 2:30? I mean,
Yeah.
at 2?
At 2, perfect.
Okay. I'll send you an invite right now.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yesterday was a weird day. I woke up with a headache. Huh? Yeah. Yesterday was a weird day.
Not worries.
So after, and I was also cleansing yesterday, though I hadn't started yet. So that wasn't why I had the headache, but it's like, I think part of it might've been just like, I'm getting back into my healthy routine, eating right, getting rid of all the crap food, walking, like I went to physical therapy. So I just think all of that, my body's like, hello.
Yes.
I'm like, do you remember me? It's been a long time.
Well,
Okay, who's this? I entered the waiting room.
okay, so I just sent you at least for half an hour today.
Hi, I see somebody just entered the call. We are actually in the networking portion, the breakout sessions. And so we've already had our keynote speakers, and you are welcome to join our breakout sessions. If you click on the icon on the bottom of your screen that says breakouts, you are welcome to join any of the breakout sessions. We have a finance coach, we have a career coach, resume writer, LinkedIn coach. Just click join, and you can join any of those that you would like.
Or if you want some help with it, drop it in the chat or unmute yourself and we would be happy to help.